My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Natalia, and it's just the three of us here today. Sky couldn't join us today, but that's okay, because we got some bangers today, because that's right, it's a Drama Gems episode. If this is your first episode, welcome to us. A Drama Gems basically where we just pick a random theme, not so much a genre, but like a vibe, like a theme, a concept, and then go back into our watching history and pull out a drama to recommend for you. And if you're a member of the Found Family, there's a second episode that's going to be posted the day after this episode goes live. That's like a little mini version where we pick a second one for you.
So like more treats.
Yeah, that's
more
right.
gems.
Exactly.
For your collection.
So this month, I say that as though we do it monthly. We just do it occasionally. Yeah. But we decided there was, the little April showers brings May flowers that are esoteric concept. It could be taken in any way you wanted, was flowers in some way. Like, you could be literal, you could be more metaphoric, plot-wise. We don't know. Listen, we've left it open to the members of the podcast to just, like, come up with whatever the spirit moves them, like what the spirit of the theme of flowers takes us today. And Amanda's going to start off because we're doing an age order this week, baby. Woo. So, Amanda, what drama under the theme or vibe of flowers have you decided to go with?
This was, like, surprisingly difficult for me. I did not think it was going to be, and it was like, oh yeah, sure, of course. And then I was like, nothing. I got, nothing. I was
or like
okay.
I kept picking ones that like we had already extensively talked about, like we have a full episode dedicated to, and I was like, can't do that.
Or it like there are a couple. The very first one that came to mind was Flower Boy Ramen Shop, but I have a very hate relationship with that. So
it's less of a gem, more of a block of coal vibe on Flower Boy Ramen Shop.
That was one of my early watches when I was not fully aware of the tropes and the way that things always go. So I held out hope for way too long for the appropriately aged man.
Wah wah.
Anyway.
Wah wah.
Romance, but please, Noonas, do not meet the man when he is in high school and you are his teacher.
Now, we ain't into that. We ain't into that creep vibe. Hell no.
Yeah. So, but I did ultimately pick a high school drama. It's not exactly flower, but sort of. Meteor Garden. What was it? 2018? Yeah, 2018, the Chinese version. This is Boys Over Flowers, but fresher and less crimey.
Yeah.
Like, it's, when you read the description and it says this spoiled boy pulls pranks, they're pranks. Like,
they're not assaults.
They're not crimes. You're not afraid she's about to get raped or murdered, or it's just come play poker with us, and if you lose, you have to, like, it's truth or dare kind of situation. Like, it's not really cute, and it's, I mean, if you like C-drama rom-coms, it's a C-drama rom-com with a base that if you've watched the older Meteor Garden, if you've watched what is it, Hannah Yori?
Yori. Is it Yori?
Yeah, the Japanese version. Yeah. If you've watched F4, the Thai version, like, F4 is like the opposite end of things. It's the dark version, and like Meteor Garden's like the light version, and then you have everything in between. And I just really enjoyed it. I mean, it's still the same nonsensical storylines. It's still the same, terrible mother. And, all that kind of stuff. But the friendships are really solid. That's always the best part of any version of this story is the friendships, the F4 and the way that they are hooked together and the way they look out for each other and stuff. And you really see that in this version. And they're just, you just can actually cheer for the relationship. She stays spunky and it's fun to watch. So, I'm entirely certain where the garden part of the title, I know they mention it, but it's still kind of like, oh, okay. But I guess that's Meteor Garden is more stars than it is flowers, but I'm sticking to it. It goes with the vibe. So, I watched it as it was airing and I really enjoyed it. I think it's still on Netflix, maybe. It was when I watched it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and it's got Dylan Wang in it, and he's great.
Yeah, he's delightful.
Like, he was very fresh in this one, so I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, he wasn't a very good actor," and he became a better actor. And I was like,
"That's how everyone at their jobs is, though."
It's also a teen show too.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't have to be. The bar isn't high on these types of shows. I don't know what
perfect drama.
When you go in to watch like a Chinese version of Boys Over Flowers, clearly marketed to teens, not like a redone one, like a direct these are teens. What sort of masterclass acting are you looking for here? Like, let's be realistic with our expectations, you know?
Like, nobody was watching like Saved by the Bell because like they were
it was like a master class at acting.
Yeah, like it was fun.
Like you weren't expecting to see them on like Inside the Actors Studio the next week. Like relax, okay? You go in for the vibes, you know?
Yeah, and you just like find something fun with the characters and you just connect in a way. You don't have to be perfect.
I really like Meteor Garden. I remember when it first came out, I was actually watching it because it was like, I don't know if it was like Netflix produced or like Netflix had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because it was like airing simultaneously on Netflix. And like to my memory, it was like the first time like a C-drama had done that on Netflix, but like I could be wrong on that. Like I could be misremembering. But I remember like getting really into it because like I was like, okay, like listen,
same.
I unironically find great joy in Boys Over Flowers. I think it's a vibe. You know, like it may not be a good vibe, but it's a vibe, right? It's a product of its era, you know, like it's and so I was like, okay, I'm like really intrigued to see what this, and I genuinely still to this day, having seen almost every version of this, I think Meteor Garden, the Chinese version, is my favorite.
I feel like when it was airing, I remember the timeline being very receptive to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those, it's the version that I think has kind of lost in popularity, but like almost like it's like that core group found it, really liked it, and then everybody kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And so like it's never like added to the list. Because I think even more than that, because there is an even older Chinese drama version of Boys Over Flowers, and I think that like a lot of people like even go to that before they go to Meteor Garden. But like, I remember very clearly how receptive people were to this like different version of the story.
Well, like I think the original Meteor Garden from like 2004 or something is a Taiwanese version.
Oh, okay,
loved,
I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, so I think a lot of people wanted to tune in to like compare and stuff. But I think also it's more accessible being on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, that was great. Yeah. But I also think that of all the versions, it's the most accessible in the sense of it's the easiest to watch for the most number of people. Like like the new Thai F4, you have to be kind of in the mood for.
Yeah, they decided to like make it like edgy
out,
and like like
yeah.
Oh, like the real struggles of it's like, no, when you're going and which is great, okay, if that's what you want to watch, but when I want to go into Boys Over Flowers, I'm not looking for like real human struggles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see them, like, her be mad that he flew her to a private island. You know what I mean? And be like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, come on. Like, you want a layer of goof to it. Because it is a ridiculous story with ridiculous people.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and I actually truly understand, like, there's the F4 version. Like, I get it. I get it in the sense, like, oh, we wanted to make it, like, modern and more, like, in line with current, like, standards and current expectations for shows. At the same time, though, sometimes you just want to watch something fun. And
exactly.
You know, you want to watch him call him Pineapple Head, and his head actually does look like a pineapple. Like, I get it. Like, it was,
it's fun.
It's a fun show.
It just is. And I think for like for new K-drama watchers who maybe get told like, oh, you have to watch Boys Over Flowers because it's the thing that you have to watch because, you don't. You can enjoy modern K-dramas without watching Boys Over Flowers. You might miss some things because they do even now still will make references. But if you sort of have it in your heart that like I should watch a version of this story, but like Boys Over Flowers does not appeal and F4 was too much and I can't get a hold of like the Japanese or the Taiwanese ones. This is a great little version and it will give you the talking points, the key things that you need to know about what's going on in that story, and you can like extrapolate
the references, right? Like
So I just enjoyed it. I really did. Like Natalia said, I watched it while it was airing, waiting for the episodes to drop, and it was just fun.
Because it's a long show. Like, it's 50, 45-minute episodes, so like it is a bit longer than like if this was your first Chinese show. It would be like, oh boy, like you really liked, know, Boys Over Flowers and you wanted to check out like this might be a bit of a slog, but it's a fun slog. Like you're having a good time while watching it. I just think it's fun. I agree. Fun. Just sometimes you just want fun, you know? You just want fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Jessie? What are you planting in our garden?
So, like, I thought this was going to be a pretty easy, like, pick, like, a thing to find a lot of different options for. And I guess in a way it is because, like, 99.9% of dramas have cherry blossoms in them. So, like, guarantee you could, like, just, like, pick everyone. But I was like, absolutely. No, I kind of want, like, something a little bit different. But, like, I feel like you can just like know in the back of your head a flower scene that's very important, but you don't remember it like after having watched it, and it's like been years since you watched it, and I was like trying so hard to find like something like that. And I was like, I know it's there, and then finally like it clicked in my brain. I like thought of a drama and I was like, oh, this is the perfect drama. And it's a drama we have talked about on this podcast, but we didn't do it like too extensively. And it's a drama that was, I would say that like, it's very divisive on the like timeline. I think a lot of people like still say they don't like it. I personally liked it. I know Natalia liked it, and it's the 2021 K-drama Doom at Your Service.
Oh, I love Doom at Your Service.
I really like it.
You know that meme that's like, if there's 1,000 fans, I'm one of them. If there's 10 fans, I'm one of them. If there's only one fan, it's me. And if there's no fans, I've left this earth. That's me with Doom at Your Service. I loved it.
Yeah,
high five.
So much fun watching
it's such a good show.
I mean, it's like perfectly in like a good genre for me because it's like a sci-fi fantasy drama, and it's got like rom-com in it, but I feel like what happens with these shows is they take a percentage of the comedy out to fill in with that supernatural fantasy element, and it just makes the perfect amount. It's like, okay, there's little like portions of comedy, but I can get through it for the rest of the show. So the basic plot of the show is the lead character, who's played by Park Bo Young, she finds out that she's going to die of cancer fairly soon. And like everything's just like not going her way. Her boyfriend is cheating on her, and it's all like on her like birthday, or like the day of her parents' death. But yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And she's just like really mad at the world, and she wishes for the world to end. The problem is that while she was wishing for the world to end, this god deity happened to be around to hear, and he just happens to be the deity of doom and can like make that happen and really wants to make that happen. So he swoops in, is like, yes, I'll make that happen. And then that's played by Son Gook.
It's his only dream is to make
this
happen.
Yeah.
He's been yearning for this for
doom
millennia.
And gloom, like the entire time. And he's
Love
like,
him.
yes,
like,
I want to use my doom and gloom to like take down the world, because I hate the world and I'm really angry at the world because I'm a god. He's just angry.
He's a bit of an edgelord.
He totally is. But like, obviously he falls in love with her, and it's like very cute. It's a very like, if you like enemies to lovers, this is really great. That's a good one for you. But so like the show is just like about them and the like their connection, and like it falls around like some of the other people like at her work and her friends. And so I really like that. But like the big thing about like the tie-in with like flowers for this episode is that it's very heavily centered on like gardening as like an aspect, because there's another deity goddess that you see throughout most of the show, and she, from like the very first episode, she talks about her garden. And so she's like kind of like a god, like the god, like she creates humans. So she plants seeds and creates the humans. And so she has this this like garden that she keeps referencing, and then she talks extensively about how like she's just the person who's planting the seeds, like, and like waiting for them to grow, but other people also have to come in to help grow, or other circumstances and stuff, and like either grow or die or whatever. There's like obstacles happen, and sometimes those seeds don't flourish and sometimes they do. And so like Doom is being told about this garden that she has, and he asked what in that garden that that is him in this garden that this goddess has, and she says that he's the butterfly. And so like it like follows around like him being just kind of like the outside creature in this garden, still like being able to see the beauty and like, you know, be with the humans but not actually be the humans. And Park Bo Young's character is kind of the like tie-in to bring him. And there's this like, this is probably like episode 4, so it's not like too terrible. There's like this one scene where they are both on the beach, and Park Bo Young's character is asking what his world looks like, and she's trying to like figure out what the world looks like to him. And so he like takes her into his world, where essentially they're in this garden with all these like really pretty flowers, and he starts walking, and everything that he touches turns to like black and white, and the flowers freeze and start to wilt and fall down. And so like he walks like farther from her, and so she's still in color and he's in black and white, and then she starts walking towards him and brings back all the color and all the life back into the flowers.
It's such a classic, right? Like, just such a, it's like, listen, it's such like a, like, obvious metaphor situation, but you still love it. You're still
but
like,
the scene is so pretty, especially because they like do a pan out. When they do the pan out and where it's like just like Park Bo Young's character being in like with all the color and he's not, and then like it just like slowly comes back in together. It's really good. And I think what also makes it really good is that you would think that she would be the sunshine character, partly because of the role she had, and partly because you've got Doom, who's like the, I'm angry all the time, so you need that sunshine character. She's not very sunshine in this.
No.
Like, her world is falling apart. And so like I really enjoyed that aspect of it, because it was really them coming together and really like them like learning to figure out things together. Also the goddess, like, she's always carrying around this pot, like, and she keeps talking about how she's like planted a seed and she's just waiting for it to grow. And so there's like all these like scenes with her like carrying around the pot. It's just really good. I really enjoyed the drama.
I just love Doom at Your Service.
Yeah, like it has a lot of like other people in the cast. I mean, like, so Shook is in it. Conteo is in it. I know everybody really loves him from Extraordinary You. I think like it has, if you're like into supernatural and fantasy romance, you're gonna really like this. The Office portions of the show is really great. So if you relate like Office dramas with found family, they're really great. Like they have just like the quirky like family of characters in the little writing office. You learn this very quickly on that, but the parents die, so it's just like her and her brother, and her single aunt is the one that raises her. Her aunt is fantastic, and her aunt is
Kevin,
dating our favorite English
white man.
Yeah.
Our favorite white man. Hell yeah, Kevin.
But she's so cool too, and just like they do touch on the fact that like it's like she's come in to take care of these like very young kids because they're both the parents have died, and she's single, and everybody's like, why don't they just like bring them to the orphanage? And she's like, no. And like there's this like one of the scenes where she comes when like for the you see the funeral. She comes in and she has this vest on, and it's got like a little like embroidery of vines and stuff, but it's like red satin on the top, and she's just like standing out, not only because she walks up to the people the family members who are like, why doesn't they just take them to an orphanage? She's single, she doesn't need to be taking these kids, and she's just like stands out, and she's like just like standing up to them.
Enraged.
Like looks at she's so mad. She turns around, she looks at the altar of the parents, and then immediately turns back to the kids and goes in to hug them. And it's just it's good.
And it wasn't just that she was like she was their mom's sister. She was their mom's identical twin.
Yes.
So it was like there was even another layer.
Yeah.
I love that show so much.
Yeah. I really like
I
feel like if someone told you that it wasn't good and you shouldn't watch it,
you were
don't
lied
listen to them.
Listen, if you've ever listened to the show and you were like, wow, I really agree with Natalia's likes and dislikes. I really like the stuff Jessie likes. Watch this show, okay?
It's on Netflix. It's super easy to find. I think it's even on Viki now.
It might be. I keep meaning to go back and finish it. I sort of put it on pause. If you would like to hear us all talk way more detail about it, there's the K-Bay podcast, which is
that's right,
on a very long hiatus now. We all guest starred over there on episodes, and they do like a recap podcast. And I used to listen to their podcast like religiously, and so I put it on hold because they were on hold for reasons. And I was like, when they come back to it, I'll come back to it. And they never came back.
Maybe one day. The dream is still alive.
Yeah,
okay? Robbie,
come back.
The dream is still alive.
I know.
We believe in you.
You know. But yeah, so I'm like halfway through. I need to watch the second half. But I enjoyed the half that I watched quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
it's such a good show. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Oh, that apartment. his apartment.
Oh, don't even start with the round window. The round window. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't want to think about it. This is envy. The envy, I tells you. Yay. Good show. Good show. So, for me, I had several options I was mulling with. They get more and more, like, esoteric as you go on. And now, I initially was gonna go for, like, a real obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you know what? I feel like the real obvious one, which I'll probably do in the Patreon side video, might be too obvious. All right? Maybe I should go for something out of real left field that when I say it, people listening will initially be like, what are you talking about? And so I've decided to do that. And I would like to talk to you about a low-budget Thai drama from 2020 called My Engineer. Now, I know you're sitting here and you're like, how engineer? Clearly it's Thai and it has engineer in the title. This is clearly a gay drama. You are correct, it is. But how does this possibly relate to flowers? The real question is, how does this not relate to flowers? Because let me tell you the basic plot of this show, okay? So there's like a real like himbo style main character named Duin, okay? He's like cool, but he's also very smart at school, but kind of dumb, all right? And he rides a motorcycle, and he's a new engineering student. And then he shows up and he gets into an altercation with the like hottest, most popular upperclassman, Bone. And through like this series of contrived stupidity that is just chef's kiss to a low budget BL like this, forces him every day. He has to bring him as like recompense for this crime of nonsense that has happened, to bring him a rose every single day. But this is all just it starts out as a cruel prank, but cruel prank is like, he's not the most creative. Like, these aren't the brain trusts, all right? Like, these two fellas. And so every day bringing him this rose, and very quickly he's like, nah, I want to get in that. All right. And that's like that half of that plot. A lot of ridiculous, like the first time he realizes like, oh no, he's cute and I'm falling in love with him, is in a florist shop where he Dune turns holding some flowers and he's smiling. He's like, look at these. And then it's like the lighting changes. Like it's the bright light and he's like, oh, like it's the chef kiss. And then you're like, okay, like, sure, this is a pretty big rose-based plot. There can't possibly be more horticultural-based stuff in this engineering drama with every single character in it being an engineering student. Well, that's where you're wrong, champ. Because the second couple, one of them, King, is obsessed with plants. His whole house full of plants and flowers. He talks to them. He names them. He's, he's a plant dad. He's a plant dad. He's obsessed with these plants. Everywhere he goes, he's weaving a little flower crown and putting it on the, like, listen. This show is a chock full of the old flower goodness that you might be looking for. Now you're asking yourself, Natalia, is this show good? This show is very enjoyable.
It's very watchable.
It's very enjoyable. Now, I think we talk about this before on this podcast, where I feel like there's a real disconnect with a lot of people where they think something has to be good to be enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And that is not the case, because the acting on this, questionable. The filming, not great. Some of the plot points and writing, yikes. There's one character who's played by a Chinese actor who speaks no Thai, and they've dubbed in his entire, like, every single line with a voice that does not match his face. And when you hear him speak Thai, like when you hear him speak Chinese,
he's like a 40-year-old man.
Like, sounds nothing like his actual voice. Like, there is just, listen, it was made with a lot of love, okay? Like, it's like, think of it as like your kid's macaroni art, like, just put it on the fridge. And also, if people who have been around for a while know that I have one Thai actor who lives in my heart and my mind rent-free, and that is my boy Stuart, aka Perth. He was also in Kin Porsche. He played the bodyguard
he's so adorable.
He's so adorable. He has a really great YouTube channel, which is in English for anyone, because he is from Australia. This was his, like, first big foray into the acting role. And when I tell you, like, people who remember this show do not think about the main couple.
No.
They're only ever thinking about plant dad and dog dad. All right. And he was silent dog dad with the neck tattoo. The show is very fun. It's on YouTube, I believe, for free, but no, WeTV. It's on WeTV. It's on WeTV.
Is it?
It was like a WeTV original. And if you're familiar with Thai WeTV originals, let's just say funding isn't usually the strong point for these shows. And it's not an original story. Like, if there's nothing particularly original about it, there's nothing particularly fantastic about it or, like, standout about it. But there's something about this show that just stays with you, where you're like, this was, like, I don't know if, like, maybe, like, because I watched it in lockdown. And I was just like, this is what's keeping me going. Because it was in lockdown. For anyone unfamiliar with the Natalia lore, I was on a business trip when lockdown happened. And so I was locked down for 3 months, living in my coworker's basement. And my business trip had been to Costa Rica, because I used to work for yoga. It was a yoga thing. Anyway, so all I had it was like February to June in Montreal, because I didn't live in Montreal at that time, and all I had were clothing for Costa Rica, and I lived in my coworker's basement.
Crazy time.
It was such a crazy time, and so I was a little half insane. All right, because she also had 3 children and 2 dogs. And I was just like, I just want to go home, but I physically am barred from doing so. And then there were just these shows that came out that had finished filming, like, just before lockdowns became a thing. God, did they get me through. And this was one of those. And I feel like people have such fond memories about this show, because for a lot of people, this was the show they were watching right when, like, the height of the lockdowns was happening, because there wasn't many new shows coming out. And so there's just sort of this, like, escapism feeling to it. So I can't guarantee if you watch it today, because since 2020, there's been a real boom in the Thai BL world. And there's a BL for every taste. All right, except for homophobic. You're out of luck. I don't even know why they wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Like, but anyway, like, besides that, there's, like, listen, if you like crime, there's crime. If you like rom-coms, there's rom-coms. Supernatural, they got it all. Like, they have it for everything. Like, high budget, low budget, well acted, questionable, sexy, chase. They've got it all. But at the time, 2020, the boom was just beginning. You know, so this was really riding the waves, you know. There's something just fond about, you know, a memory that you have.
There is something fond about your, you know, lockdown obsession. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, it's not like we were idiots in lockdown. Like, we knew the show wasn't good, but that didn't stop us from kept you
entertained.
Yeah, from, like, seeing the joy in something low budget and fresh. Like the word fresh is the only one I can think of, because it's like these were not no one in this was a seasoned actor. Like these were all like 19-year-olds making a ridiculous show. And
there's still people who are unhappy that we didn't get the
season
sequel.
2.
So
yeah.
You know, we were supposed to get a second season.
It does end on a, we're definitely getting a sequel. I think it's time to pack it in. I don't think it's gonna happen. Everyone's pretty much moved on to other things since the show, but like there's just I have fond feelings about it. You know? It's just an enjoyable time.
We should say that we do have like a full episode on Flower Boys, which is very...
It's an older episode, but we got it.
So if you're looking for some more flower type shows, I mean, you can learn all about Flower Boys. Maybe you don't even know what a flower boy is.
You could be new. It's like, I feel like, you know, speaking of lockdowns, I feel like the community for watching Asian dramas really skyrocketed.
Yeah,
so there
absolutely.
might be people who didn't come into it with like this
especially because
that, like we take for granted.
We don't flower boys really aren't a thing anymore, and it was very
it's like a period, right?
Yeah.
It's always so funny looking back at these like different periods of fandom that we experienced as they were happening.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about like newer people who don't have this background, who get to, this is what I love, they get to find out about it and enjoy it.
That's true, yeah.
And like me, I love watching people enjoy things. Like I genuinely love hearing people having a good time, enjoying something. And I get sort of like a vicarious joy through that. And so this is why it really bums me out when people are like, I can't say I like this thing because it's like not super high quality. I'm like, no, love the cringe. Embrace the cringe.
Be like super anything, and it could just be like you could just like it because of like the stupidest reason, but if it gives you joy and it's like not outwardly like hurting other people,
then it's
like
good.
You shouldn't feel bad about like liking it or talking about your like of it.
It's for sure. And you know what, like on the reverse side of it, if you're new to K-dramas and stuff and you get wrecked something like over and over again, we loved this one, everybody loved this one, it's so great, and you watch it and it does not click with you, that is fine. It doesn't mean something with you. Like Natalia said, a lot of these things that were huge because of the time we were watching it, and like everybody, you know, K-drama Twitter used to be a real thing where people would like it live tweet as watching.
It was a lot smaller, and with like a much smaller community, it's a much different
everyone's
feel.
Watching it. It just, you have these good memories of this group watch, right?
It's like a lot of
it
like,
might not.
And also, there was less available.
Yeah,
so everyone would be watching. The same
everybody's watching the same thing because like. What else are they
like
gonna watch?
3 things available, not 30.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's great that there's so much more available, which means that it's more accessible to a larger group of people to find something that they truly enjoy.
Yeah.
But I get like a little bummed out when I see like people just being nasty to be nasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not a vibe.
That's not necessary.
Like that's bad.
Shutting a door in the fandom that I just don't. It just feels weird and it feels unnecessary, and you're like, I don't. It's not like K-dramas are one thing too. Like it's not like they only are like about romance and have comedy and that's it. Like it's a big thing, and there's something for everyone.
And I
think
like it's really
Asian dramas in general.
Is like a trend that I've seen recently. Now that we're like, this is a perfect discussion for Drama Gem, since we talk about slightly older things. Like a trend that I see is like this belief that somehow dramas have changed for the worst. And I'm like, they really haven't. It's just that you didn't have access to the types of dramas that you have access to now that are being made. But it's not like they never made crime dramas.
Yeah.
It's not like they didn't make, violent dramas. It's not like they didn't make dramas about subject matters that you don't personally enjoy. It's just that all that was easily available previously were rom-coms and mellows.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
And it's not like you weren't making low quality crap too.
No.
They were, just that wasn't the stuff that got out there, right, into the world. Netflix didn't want those ones. So now you get to watch the low quality crap. It doesn't mean everything is low quality, and it doesn't mean there was low quality before.
And it's like, just because like Netflix makes a show like The Glory and it's not to your taste doesn't somehow mean that now dramas are bad now because you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Since Squid Game, dramas have no, they haven't.
Or that wasn't something that that country liked as an entertainment. But
it clearly was.
Yeah.
And the reason that you can easily say no, they clearly liked it is because they still like it. These shows are still popular worldwide, which means that they have a appeal that perhaps isn't to you, but it is to a lot of other people.
And the beauty of it right now is that you can find something else. You can find hundreds of something else.
Listen, we do our live stream every month. That's the What's Coming Up, with new releases coming every month. And when I tell you the vast array of plots and genres and vibes that are presented in this, there's something for everyone coming out every month. So listen, I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear that old dramas are bad now. No, they're not. You just aren't finding the right ones.
The flip side of that is the people who think that K-dramas are only good now. Now that Netflix is in, or now that they have Netflix money, or now they've only become good, and you're like, no, they were good before. Some of us were watching them before too, and the ones we were watching are not all. Yes, was there some bad?
Every country makes bad shows.
Yeah, but watch American television from a decade ago. Not all of it is going to hit the same. It doesn't mean they're making better shows now. It just means
tastes have changed.
Time.
You have changed. Yeah. People
also people don't realize that a lot of the times when they're things have changed and things are bad now, and saying all that stuff, it's not actually the content. It's that something in your life changed, your watching habits changed, your it could be anything. It could be mental stress or something that's going on in your life, but also you could just be just falling out of watching. This could have been just a moment in time type of fixation for you, and then you're coming out of it and you're perceiving it as things are getting bad when it's just really you're just not interested in it anymore. And I think a lot of people don't really kind of self-reflect on that a lot, and they make it the drama or the entertainment world's fault when it really it's you're just not into it right now, and which is a fine place to be in. Don't feel like you have to be watching Asian dramas all the time.
I just hope that people will start just sort of looking inwards instead of putting their dissatisfaction outwards. To be honest, I don't understand the energy of being negative about something, especially something entertainment wise, because you could have just turned it off.
Yeah, and also I just I feel bad for people who are just entering too and kind of seeing that and then feeling bad about themselves or what they watched or what they liked. And I don't that sort of thing just really bothers me. It just especially it just we don't need to put down people, even if it's just you just passively saying something about a drama. If another person really liked it and you're calling it stupid and why you are insulting another person and
because while it's ideally someone wouldn't take it to heart and be well, if they think this is stupid, they must think I'm stupid. But that's not how the human mind works.
No,
and
like, but
people get a
also
little defensive about the things they love, you know?
But also when you're, like, just starting out in a fandom too, and it's, like, something that you just got, like, super hyped about, and then someone crushes you like that, it's going to, like, crush you. Like, even if you don't actually feel like you're not taking the words to heart, it's just, like, that, like, instant, like, someone raining on your parade type thing, just, like, it really, like, stops you, and you're like, "Oh, I guess I won't say anything," because, like, if I don't say, like, anything to anybody, then I can still enjoy my stuff and not have to, like, encounter these people when like, we should be fostering a fandom that, like, you can
the
talk to
human, like, the
all
human
these
urge in
people.
a fandom is to share what you love. That's, like, the basis of all fandoms, is that you genuinely love this thing. And so when people get so caught up in being negative about things, it really just sours the whole experience for a lot of people. So we implore you, we're just, you know, the soapbox as always. We always have something going on that we're upset about here.
Don't ever be like that person who, you know, you see somebody is new and they're like asking for recommendations, and somebody goes in and says, "Oh, I really love this," and then you come in and go, "Oh, everybody hated that. That was a terrible."
Everybody,
no, I just said I loved it. So like, settle down. Right?
It's like I'll be like really enjoying a show, and then I'll see a post that's like, "Oh, anyone who loves a show must be insane." I'm like, "Well, put me in the straitjacket, I guess. I guess I'm crazy." Like, I'm just, and you know what? And I love those posts because it's always about a show that's like really, really popular.
It's
and I'm
so
always like,
funny
well,
to
clearly
me.
a lot of people disagree, but you
or
know
you
what?
do the thing where like like Twitter is like talking about stuff, and they're like, "This show was so terrible. How did they get this ratings?" And you go on to TikTok, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, this show is amazing.
I love this show."
Or
and I'm just
when
like,
you're on there's so many new K-drama watchers on Blue Sky, I find. Like they're new fans.
like new.
And so they will often find something older and they'll be like, "Why is nobody talking about this?"
Because it's 8 years old.
We did 8 years
ago.
We
already did
on Twitter, right? Like, follow the hashtag on Twitter. We were talking about it. Like, yes.
It doesn't mean we don't like it. It's just that we like, you know, we talked about it and we moved on because that's like what you do.
You know, we've moved on to a new show is what's actually happening.
We watched like 300 dramas after that, so like, forgive us.
But listen, if you want to talk about it, we'll talk.
Just
be
like, "Hey, I just watched this. I know it's older, so not a lot of people are like actively discussing it right now. Just put a tag on it and like, somebody will show up and be like, "Oh my gosh, I remember watching that drama and it just filled me with such good vibes."
It's beautiful. The world is beautiful sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I just love fandom spaces so much, and I just want them to sort of continue, like, to have a positive vibe to them that's welcoming to new people and welcoming to people from all different experiences and walks of life and ages and races and everything. And I just feel like trying to put a negative spin on things that you say that you love is not the vibe sometimes, you know? If there's no, like, good reason, like, for example, if there's not like a really shitty actor in it, or if like you know the show's really sexist or really racist or something, there's no need to. If you don't like it, just find something you do. You know, like there's so much in the world that you can be like shitty and like mean about and be like negative about. The TV shows you watch don't have to be that.
No,
the music you listen to doesn't have to be that. If you don't like a group, you don't need to actively post about how you don't like the group. Just post about a group you do like.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. Things you don't like.
It's genuinely easier to not do
so much more fun.
And people will like you better. They will, people, you know, as much as we, you know, if people are like, oh, like people love, you know, responding to edgelord bait. People genuinely like people who are positive about things that they love a lot better, you know? I don't know.
It's very true.
We might just be some, you know, crazy middle-aged ladies, but like, just putting that out there.
But we're happy, crazy middle-aged ladies.
We are happy,
and we've also all been in fandoms for a very long time, not just Asian drama fandoms. So
if y'all could have seen my childhood bedroom,
oh my gosh,
you would have. This was inevitable. Like,
yeah, you like. I know my mom is like, yeah, of course this is what her apartment looks like now. Of course.
Yeah, like my room, like if for anyone not on the YouTube, I sit in front of a giant shelf full of K-pop albums and a literal wall covered in photos, and there's a giant poster of Kang Daniel just glaring at me from behind me at all times. Like it was obvious what I was to become if you saw my childhood bedroom, you know? Like But and that's, you know what? And we're happy, we're cringe and we're free, you know? And we're not afraid to say we like questionable things, because we do. Questionable as in quality.
Quality.
Like, listen, I'm a be real. I can't lie.
We just talked about this on the live.
Listen, I can't. Like, listen, I'm not gonna make it public, but I can't deny my AO3 history. Okay?
Questionable, and then there's questionable.
Yeah, listen, we have hard limits, you know, like
line
standards.
Yeah, we keep the human rights in the back of our mind at all times, you know. Don't worry about it. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with us today. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed these 3 little recommendations we have for you. And if you want to listen to more episodes, all of our episodes are wherever podcasts can be found, but they are also on YouTube, which you can see in video, and they are also on our website, certifiednoonas.com, where we have links and time codes to everything we talk about. And if you want a second pick, you're going to have to join the Found Family, because that's where we put our little extra episodes and little mini things and all stuff just for our sweet, sweet Found Family at patreon.com/certifiednoonas. They're a Found Family web. We love them so much. We have movie nights too. It's good times. We love the Found Family. Anyway, thank you for listening to us. We'll be back next week with another episode of fun, a classic format that we've done several times next week. And we'll talk to you soon. All right. And as always, wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.